The fight of the century is finally here. Godzilla in the red corner, Kong in the blue corner, directed by Adam Wingard and starring Alexander Skarsgård and Millie Bobby Brown. Who wins in this clash of the titans? How exciting will this be? And where does it compare in the Monsterverse? Without further ado, let's get ready to rumble! After Godzilla does a little heel turn, there is a quest by the humans to bring Kong to the Hollow Earth, which causes Godzilla to be drawn to Kong, and thus a fight of the two most iconic kaiju of all time begins. So first and foremost, does this fight live up to the hype? Yes, it does. I came into this Team Godzilla, and I have to say that I absolutely adored the wholesome banter on Twitter between the Team Kong and Team Godzilla fans. There's no toxicity in it. It's all just big dumb fun building up to this big dumb movie. When we compare this to the other kaiju fights in the previous films, I have to say that this is the best. The two clash a couple of times within this, and the Hong Kong fight is by far the best, and it is purely because of the camera work. There are some incredible shots in this. A couple in particular ones is one tracking shot that goes from Kong to Godzilla with a certain subject that's leading the way in between the two. And there's one point in a stationary office section where we're seeing two kaijus fighting, smashing in one building, then the next building, then right into this building where the camera is. There's a lot of fantastic stationary and static camera work that really showcases these monsters going at it. And the physics of their fight as well is brilliant. The way that you can see them moving with all the speed they can, but it's not fast and fluid. Monsters of this size, it's a bit slower with gravity taking place in this. If you ever watch Corridor Crew, they can break down the idea of scale and physics in a CGI spectrum way better than I ever can. But this fight is fantastic, and the film does give us a definitive winner. I will not spoil who wins this overall fight, but it's just a glorious sequence of fights to lead us up to this moment. There are a few incredible twists along the way, one that a lot of people called from the trailers, but if you have not seen any trailers and not seen this film yet for some reason, then don't worry, I'm not going to spoil it, but it is well worth it. And any kaiju fan, or even someone like me that mainly played the Godzilla Destroy All Monsters video game back in the day, I think it was PS2 or might have been Xbox 360, but it was one of those games where you were just kaijus fighting each other, picking up buildings, and it was literally that video game brought to the big screen. It was brilliant. Yes, there are some humans in this, and as far as the humans in this franchise go, obviously they're never the strong points and no one's coming for the human characters. But I do have to say, they're not annoying and there's no one that really frustrates you. All the main characters in this are there to do a job, and they don't even try to make them more than just plot devices, especially the antagonists featured within this. Every time they're having this big bad guy moment, they just get snuffed out like instantly. They know that we're not here for the human story or the human connections, so as a result, a lot of the human characters can feel as afterthoughts or side plots, but honestly, you don't really need to know much about them. The only real important human character in this is the little girl that you might see in the trailer that seems to have a connection with Kong, which honestly is one of the strongest parts of this movie for me, is the connection between this little girl and Kong. They have this great little bond, and there's a couple of nice little twists and turns when it comes to how they communicate with each other. One final thing I have to point out as well is the Monsterverse, whether you love it or you hate it, one thing they do fantastically is the absolute screenshots, these screensaver style frames that they show within this. They go above and beyond when it comes to cinematography and lighting within these movies. That has been the one constant throughout all four of these Monsterverse movies. There were just some amazing visuals. I am annoyed that in the UK our cinemas do not open again until May, and I really hope that this gets a little IMAX run in May, because goddamn, I want to see this on the biggest screen with the biggest speakers just to blow my mind away. Flaws, it can drag at times, and the lead up and lows in between the actual fights that we came for can drag. I watched this by myself first, then I watched it with some friends, hence why I'm late getting this review out. And I will say that the plot can get a bit bland at times, whilst gives us some great visuals. The dialogue is really not all that's cracked up to be, and there's some big characters from the previous films that are basically just cameos within this one, as well as some characters. There is Serizawa's son in this, and honestly, he is such an afterthought within this movie. And considering he's supposed to be Serizawa's son as well, and he is completely different from Serizawa in both his personality and his outlook on these kaiju monsters, that is a bit of a letdown for me. But I do love how the film knows that we're not really going to get too invested in these human characters, so it never tries to shoehorn in a heavy plot in the humans. There is one character that can be a bit annoying. His mannerisms and the way he talks very much reminds me of how they characterized Billy Cranston in the Power Rangers film, where he talks about this most random stuff, doesn't get a good read on people. I'm assuming that he's maybe on the spectrum. He's supposed to be like this conspiracy theorist, and he is basically the QAnon people just embodied in a character for every conspiracy theory he randomly throws out there. Before I get into my grade, if you like what I do on this channel, consider clicking that like button and subscribe to the channel for more reviews like this coming all the time. Got a couple of screeners coming up in the next few days, and yep, I'm just looking forward to bringing a lot more content out to you guys, especially as cinemas are nearly here. But without further ado, let's grade this, shall we? So, Godzilla vs. Kong has the definitive winner, has some of the best kaiju fight sequences ever. The only thing letting it down is the fact that the human characters are lackluster, but the film knows that, and it doesn't really go too convoluted when it comes to the plot. Is it the best film ever? No. Is it the perfect popcorn fun movie to watch with your friends with a couple of beers? Yes. Overall for me, Godzilla vs. Kong is a good cup of tea. So Godzilla vs. Kong, have you seen it? If you have, let me know what you thought down in the comments below. Again, you like what I do on the channel, click that subscribe button and let me know any films you want to see me review that might be retro or new coming out. Do let me know about them down in the comments below. But until next time, my name is Josh, I have been your Movie Apprentice, and I'll see you in the next video.